Welcome to Determined to Succeed. I'm your host, Dawn Mallarney, also known as the Unique Connector. So I'm so excited to have this guest on today. So I want to kick it off with a question for you today. When you hear the word personal development, there is sometimes a misconception around that. So I want to hear your opinion on it.
Well, let us metaphorically throw the grenade in the room and just get it over with, and then we'll come back in after it explodes. Um, Personal development. Oh gosh, as the trending conversations take place and we reach this pivotal rise after 2020 where everybody started doing this and everything went online and we're starting to ask these crazy big questions and oh man, the biggest thing that I have learned is that this whole concept of self-help is absolute bullshit. Pause. Wait for the outrage to disperse. Yeah, I'm learning that these buzzwords, I'm so exhausted with every single time I hear mindset, something in me gags and dies. And
Okay.
so then yes, that is my A to your Q. I think that things around mindset and self-help are just absolute garbage. And yeah, that's pretty much where that's my little corner of the world I stand and scribble in a coloring book on all day long.
Yeah. Well, and I guess, probably the listeners are wondering, like, why does she think that? Tell us more, and so maybe you've even, want to talk about some of your journey or just how you come up with that interpretation on it, I guess.
Well, so the long and short of it is I spent nearly $100,000 on coaching, life coaching, training, masterminds, workshops, events, retreats, diets, books, workbooks, you name it, and ended up with the same freaking problems, the same wounds, the same patterns, the same habits and tendencies and mindsets. And we're leaving with so many people wanting more, needing real actual help. People that are
Yeah.
stuck beyond stuck. And you tell them to change their mindset. They're like, okay, just tell me how. Just give me a real straight answer. Just tell me what the gap is, where it starts, where it ends, and how to walk across it, and I will do it. And then there's people that say that and they won't do it. So where are we actually failing to see everything? And that was my question, because as I was learning, I started this personal development self-help journey in the self-help section of a library, like a Barnes and Noble, just like probably mostly anybody before 2020 and everything went online. Fast forward to my life, or rewind to my life. I had a huge car, huge house, huge mortgage, huge stack of crap in the closet, every single more money than I knew what to do with, making five figures without even blinking a month. I had it all. I had it all. I had the white picket fence. It just wasn't white. And I was so miserable and so unhealthy and in such a toxic marriage at the time that I was pretty much desperate. I couldn't walk up the stairs of my house without being winded. I was I was skinny, but I was unhealthy. And so I thought that that was healthy. I was skinny. I was like, well, I have the body shape that says healthy, so I'm fine. I have the money, so I'm fine. I'm married, so I'm fine. I have 2.8 children, so I'm fine. I mean, it's like everything was just on the outside. I'd kind of done it all. And I think that's where the mindset stuff is getting into, it's becoming the new white picket fence. Everything's fine. Look at
Hmm.
me. I'm doing the mantras. I'm doing the gratitude journals. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. I'm signing up. I'm reading the best books out there. Then why is anything changing on the inside?
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I stood for 5 years, just beating my head against the wall, going, okay, I have done every single thing that you could possibly do. I've done the rah, rah, rahs and the fire walk and the affirmations and all this bullshit, and nothing is actually changing inside me. I still hate my life and hate myself.
Mm.
So I got into the work of what's the stuff that we're not seeing? And was just obsessed with this question of what we're not seeing. The conscious stuff, the limiting beliefs. Limiting beliefs are crap. Limiting beliefs are nothing more than an excuse to keep you where you are. Because you're
Mhm.
saying, what's a limiting belief? Oh, it's something I believe. It's just a limiting belief. If you know it and you can capture it and you can say it out loud, you can choose different. So it's not a limiting belief. It's just your bullshit hyperbolic word that's you're using to kind of hold yourself hostage to this personal development journey. It's not where I am. Oh, I'm waiting to manifest. I'm looking for a sign. You're not looking for a fucking sign. I don't know if your listeners are the F-bomb type. Sorry, I can rein it in. But
No, I love it. Do
why are
you?
you still asking for a sign?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what you know what you know. Why don't you start listening to what you already know instead of continuing to look for a sign? And my sign was all the things around me that weren't changing. And so I eventually learned that it's not the conscious, it's not in the limiting beliefs, it's in the subconscious. It's not the why, it's the why not. Why am I not doing these things? Why am I not making these changes? And the problem with subconscious things, subconscious beliefs, things stored in our bodies, things that were not necessarily readily available to access, is it because, when you put on those like red framed glasses and all of a sudden you can't see not only any color, but anything red, especially?
Yeah.
The reason why it's the same concept as what happens to our subconscious mind. If we don't know that it's even there, we don't know that it's something that was stored a long, long time ago, we're going to look through the world through that lens, through the lens that we're not even aware is a lens that we're looking through at all. And so it becomes everywhere around us. And when something's everywhere around us, we don't even know what we're looking for. When you put on those lenses, if you were born that way, only able to see red, you don't know what anything else looks like. It's a similar concept to subconscious beliefs. So I did a huge, long-winded journey and went the long way about where are the things that we're not aware of? What about the stuff that I can't access? What about the memories that I can't go to the root of? Am I screwed? Can I not heal my trauma if I can't remember the memory that caused it? The answer is no. All I have to do is be able to go through the process of resetting the nervous system that caused the disruption or the dysregulation to begin with, and process it, which means move it through, heal it all the way to completion. A completed emotion is as good as a healed one. As long as you move through the process, you come out on the other side, able to process. You're not storing this endless internet cache of old tabs being opened, wondering why we're exhausted, full of anxiety, and incapable of getting a clear head and having some clarity and energy in the world. So, very long-winded answer, but essentially, I burned out. I burned out of the self-help space.
Yeah. And I would say, I feel like so many people are looking for that magical pill or that checkbox of this is what I need to do in order to be better, or, that quick fix, instead of that long game of that you got to keep working on it. It's kind of like fitness, how you were talking about earlier, like, well, I'm skinny, so I must just be healthy, and it's like, I think those things too, is people think instantly when I get to that point, I'm going to be good.
Mhm.
And so what is something that was that aha moment that made you really realize I got to change things? I got to do this differently now.
A couple of things. One was kind of that same thing that you were talking about just a second ago. You're like, we're looking for this magic pill, this quick fix, this answer. And I was doing the same thing. I was guilty of all of that. And what I learned was that the personal development journey, based on marketing, essentially, you could be in any industry, beauty, health, and any relationships are a huge industry, health is a huge industry, beauty is a huge industry, finance is a huge industry. Like, all of these industries are going to continue to move the horizon and move the target. The horizon is ever receding. You will never catch the rainbow. That's by design. That's why marketing's there. It tells you that there's a gap. It emphasizes the pain point of that gap, and then it sells you the close of the
Yeah.
gap. You're looking for that? I've got that. You want to feel that way? Doesn't that suck that you don't feel that way? You don't feel that way every single day. As soon as you wake up and as soon as you go to bed, that's always there. It's ever present. Isn't that painful? Guess what? I've got the cure. Oh, it's only going to cost you $9.99. Check out to cart, add to this, click to register, click to download it, whatever the case. And then the moment you get that, you download it, you consume it, you do whatever, the gap's still there. Oh my God, the gap's still there. That's because you didn't have the premium one. That's because you didn't have the second one. That's because it's a subscription. That's because you're supposed to stay hooked. That's because you're supposed to do it again. I've got the other answer. I've got medicine, and I've got medicine for the side effects. And I've got side effects for the side effects. And it's never ending.
Mhm.
And I went through that. I was like, this doesn't ever end, does it? I will never, ever find enough out there to fill in here. So there's got to be a better way. The answer came from me, and I pulled all of that journey out and extrapolated what it felt like to be in that trench and then traverse that to get to the summit of the mountain I would call my personal freedom and confidence. And I learned that after creating that, I got curious because I was suicidal. I was depressed, I was miserable, I was unhealthy, I was everything under the sun that you can imagine would take a person down and make them incapable of pretty much living their life in any capacity. And I was happy solo without anything in my hands, anything in my body, anything uh, no, no additional. Kara was happy, Kara was at peace, Kara was free, Kara was at rest. And I was like, holy shit, I might have something.
Mm.
I got curious, and I had a couple friends that were with me because like attracts like, that were going through that same journey. They felt absolutely hollow. And I gave them some of the practical steps that I took in the beginning. They got to those steps, I gave them more steps. They got to those steps, I gave them more steps. And it's all a self-referencing process. I'm not giving them answers to my mountain. I'm not telling them how I did it. I'm asking them what I asked myself then and had them do theirs, their own steps, their own path. I just made them ask the right questions. We don't need answers. We need better questions. And I helped them to self-reference, self-transform, self-guide, self-rely. And every single step, every single place that we could get them to internally, it was right dead on cue with the program. And so it became, a method that I taught other people, but it was literally just my own self-led conversations at home during this hellacious process of trying to figure out what the hell was going on with me. And it, I mean, wildly enough, I have yet to have some person go, I still don't have the answer. I'm still not sure. They develop a self-certainty. And
Mm.
wow, everything changed after that. Literally everything changed.
Well, and this is why, when we met, I was like, I love that you have a different perspective on things because this is where too, like, I love how you're saying you're asking the questions. And that's the one thing I feel like over time, it's no matter what, we can hear all the things, we can be told, we can read the stuff, but it doesn't mean it's clicking, or it's like you need to build your own confidence. You need to build your own story in your brain. Someone can't build it for you.
Mhm.
And so, you know, I love hearing this. And this is where too I love getting the different perspectives on things. And so, what is something even for the listeners that are just like shocked by maybe the things that you've been saying, but things that maybe they could even be thinking about or how they can get a different perspective because I feel like everybody's just looking for that magical answer that's not out there for them.
I think the thing I would say first is I dare you, I dare you to be honest with yourself about what you
Mm,
already know. I dare you to stop looking around at what everybody else is doing and what you think you want and what you think you will learn or get or gain from somebody else. I would challenge that you actually have all of your answers, you just don't freaking like them.
yeah.
You know that you know that you know that you know whether or not the man that you're with is toxic. But honey, here's the other thing. You also know that you know that you know that you know that there's a quality in you that attracted him in the first place. So trying to diagnose him all day long is going to be an avoidance tool to hold you back from your own healing as well. The moment that I took responsibility and accountability for the fact that I was literally the reason and the common denominator in all of my bullshit, I could actually do something about it. I wanted so badly to diagnose everything around me in a way, conveniently, that had nothing to do with me. This does multiple things that screw you over. It gives away your power and it makes you a victim. It makes you incapable of doing anything about it in a real way, which is why you have this, why narcissism is one of the highest Googled or highest YouTube things on the planet, because it allows a person, a victim of narcissism, to stay the victim and to make him out to be a bastard and to make your parents at fault for all of the issues and trauma that you have. They may be at fault, but there's a difference between fault and responsibility. Fault is the source. It doesn't matter. It is worthless. It is absolutely utterless. You have responsibility with what to do with it from there on. So it's your mess. Somebody else may have put it there, but it's yours. Alas, it's yours. What are you going to do about it?
Mm.
And I would dare you to challenge the idea that you don't already know. I'm the one who likes to lovingly kick people in the ass. Like, sister, I know it hurts. However, it's infected as fuck. And we have to actually do something about it. And if you want to keep your arm, we have to deal with the incredibly infected cut on it. And dealing with the infection doesn't feel good. Being honest that it's infected does not feel good, because the treatment doesn't involve the quick little cover up Band-Aid.
Mm-hmm.
If a dog shits in a room, we don't cover it with newspaper and run away to the high heavens and live our lives as normal. You got to actually pick it up. You got to deal with it. The newspaper is the blame, the dissociation, the avoidance, the numbing, the distracting. But at the end of the day, the newspaper doesn't deal with the shit, and it doesn't get it out, and it doesn't clean anything, and it doesn't heal anything, and it doesn't move anything. If nothing changes, nothing changes.
Mm. Yeah, and I would say, you're really digging in deep, because it's stuff we want to avoid.
Mhm.
It's the hard work on ourselves that, we're always trying to find an excuse or a reason behind it, instead of digging deep to realize maybe we're the common denominator.
Of
And
course.
so, I think it's sometimes avoiding that criticism of ourselves, or because we're always okay to criticize somebody else, and it must have been something that I was traumatized with,
Mhm.
where we don't want to hear the criticism of ourselves.
Mhm.
So what would you say to kind of that, like avoiding criticism?
Well, I do want to preface that, of course, and of course we don't. We're built for connection. We're fearful of criticism, so much so that we often negotiate with who we really are to avoid it. We
Mm.
will literally sacrifice parts of ourselves to avoid it, to fit in, to connect, to get love and connect. We're born, and our main thing when we're born is to find rapport with our parents so we can be taken care of. This is inherently ingrained in our brain, that we come into the world with a design that is built for rapport, for self-preservation, for survival. A baby
Mhm.
doesn't go, "Ugh, I don't really want to bother mom and dad with my needs right now. I'm wet, I'm uncomfortable, I need a bottle, but they've been working so hard. I think I'll just wait until it's a good time." No, they don't. They give no fucks. They are screaming to the high heavens, "I need you now. I don't care if you're sleeping. I don't care if it's 4 a.m. I don't care if you've had a long, hard day. I don't care if you've been in a fight with dad. I want it now." Somewhere along the line, we were kind of told it's inconvenient, or it's too much, or our feelings need to be pulled back a little, or we need to appropriate our behavior for public, or we were trained that criticism is not good, that negative attention is not good, that, well, we are in public, you're in a restaurant, stop.
Mhm.
I don't care if you fell and scraped your knee. People are looking at us.
Yeah.
And so we were trained to avoid criticism as well. This on loop over and over becomes a larger negotiation process, like a boiling frog. Okay, well, if my true raw 100% emotions as a child are not accepted, then I definitely know that my raw teenage formative years emotions I need to bring them down even more. And then we have the societal pressures of friend groups and status in school, and who's in what groups, and what negotiation process do I need to make? Okay, these people look like this, So in order to belong to these people, I need to look like this. I need to behave like this. I need to act like this. I need to do these things. So these guys over here, they play with recreational drugs. So I'm assuming that's part of the negotiation process. If I want to be in with them, I have to
Mhm.
compromise that part of me. I'm not really sure about that. Oh, I'm this look, these activities in order to fit it. We do this all the time, and this never ever stops, especially if we don't ever stop it. And all of a sudden, the water's boiling, the frog is dead, the person we used to be is so long gone from all of this negotiation process. Because if you think about it, the compounding effect, if I were to sacrifice myself as a child to 99% of me is all true to who I am. But then over time, it's kind of like 98% or whatever. That's only 2%. I'm still 98% me. But you got to think every single time I make that negotiation, emotions don't just come
Mhm.
one time and you're like, okay, I'm going to curb that time. You curb it every single time an emotion comes on, a full blown anger, a panic attack, or an emotional crisis or something. Every single time you go, nope, it goes down even more. So it's not just 99 stagnant, static number that I am myself. It's over time. By the time we end up in our, I'm almost 40. I was almost 30 when I realized how much of myself I was trying to shove through the acceptable doorways. And they always wanted to sand off another edge. That's the theme of the receding horizon. There's always going to be more. We're looking at social media now. If you'd have taken our social media feed now, the impossible standards that are out there in 2023 and put them 10 years ago, we'd have been like, fuck, I give up. Forget about
Mm.
it. Huh, impossible. Botox. And now we're doing Botox. We're doing Botox regularly. Like we're all doing this shit. Extensions, hair extensions, eyelash extensions. Forget about it.
Yeah.
But a few years ago, I was doing all of it. I was tanning, I was spray tanning, I was waxing, I was filling, I was shaving, I was extending extensions. Like it was exhausting. I spent hundreds, if not thousands of dollars a month just to keep chasing a target that was moving as I was chasing it. So the long the long road all still leads to you, even if you're taking a lot of freaking detours. And so I would challenge anyone to just practice the daily art of a self inquiry. Because even if you're trying to chase all these things, you don't have to just stop and give it all up and go like full halt into the brick wall. But what could you do small, incrementally, gently, gracefully, compassionately to just slow the momentum? Insert 1% more of yourself today than you did yesterday. I still do that. I go to bed at night and I lay there and I think, okay, I celebrate what more parts of my authentic self showed up that day. I'm like, okay, wow. I said I was going to do this and I did it. That's a promise to myself. That's a self-confidence build. That's a relationship with me that I just strengthened a little bit more. I did my promises to my future self list. I have 9 things that if I do every single day, I consider that my ideal care protocol. And that also kept that promise, a little bit more self-confidence, a little bit better relationship with myself. And I go through the litany. And then I take that audit and I go, okay, what is a 1% way that I could show up a little bit more true? What is even truer than this true today? And I put my subconscious to work. I say, wake up and give me the ideas, the plans, the people, the words, the actions, behaviors, the thoughts, the feelings, all that would be a little bit more aligned with that core self that I'm constantly chasing. Because eventually, if I chase the targets out here, I'm screwed. I will never find it. It will always move. But if I chase the target in here, I'm eventually find it. It doesn't move. It's me. It's always with me. It's always will be me. So if I chase it, I will eventually catch it.
Mhm.
That is a destination, a self-help journey it's a self-help journey instead of self-hell. Why don't we turn inward and chase that target? Because that's a destination I could definitely get on board with. That's a self-development journey I could definitely get on board with doing.
Mm. Well, I just think of like the rainbow and the pot of gold. You're the pot of gold inside you, and you're trying to get there all the time and to be the authentic person that you are. I think that's the pressures even more and more with our society these days of how we need to change and evolve. And I think the more we be vulnerable with ourselves, the more authentic we're going to keep showing up. And so I appreciate you coming on and giving a different perspective today. And is there any I could talk to you all day, but like any last words of wisdom that you would love for our listeners to hear?
Mm, I'm picturing myself talking to maybe a version of me from like 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And I would tell her to stop running, that she's okay as she is. She's enough as she is. She has all of the answers. She's running from them. She's actually
Mhm.
running from her answer. She's running from her truth. Just turn around and stop. And that I've chosen her. And it doesn't damn well matter if anybody else does, because I've got her back. So I think I would translate to that to if you're listening to this, from my mistakes, from my path, from my detours, from my long journeys away and back, I learned that I am always home.
Mm.
You are always home. Find a way to make it feel that way.
Ooh. Mm. I appreciate you very much. And I'm thankful that we met
Mm.
randomly online. You you are showing up bright, and I love that you are bold enough to talk about it too. It's unfortunate we all have to kind of go through this life of journey that, it's not perfectly laid out for us, but you've been doing the hard work. And so I appreciate you for coming on and talking about this and hopefully inspiring the listeners to think differently and to really hone in on themselves and to show up as their true self. So keep shining bright, Kara. I appreciate you.
Absolutely. Thanks.
Thank you.